Hi, this is Randy Vest calling in.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Thanks for calling, Randy. Dave Weinbaum and Mike Thompson and I'm Lee Burr are here. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
Well, terrific, thanks. What a great day it is here.
Yes.
Yes.
Where are you from? Are you calling from St. Louis?
Yes, I know Fallon, just outside of St. Louis.
Yes, very familiar with O'Fallon. Well, both Mike and I, and of course Dave, we all saw The Founder, and we were talking about the fact that when you watch the movie, if you don't know, you think everything in that movie is true. How much of it was true?
Well, there was a lot to the movie, and overall it did a pretty fine job of just, from an overview, telling the story, although there were details in it that were Hollywood creations.
Right.
Or just plain misunderstandings.
Yeah.
But I'd say, I went to see it myself.
Yeah.
And I think I counted somewhere between 18 and 20, 22 errors, some of them trivial and some of them pretty significant.
Is that right? Now, Dave was telling us that you were somebody who knew Ray fairly intimately. Is that right?
Well, I was lucky. Yes, I got to know him fairly well. Not as well as some, of course, but there was a period of time when I heard from him every week.
Wow.
He had interest in what I was working on, and so it kind of established a relationship.
Tell them what your positions were,
Randy.
your various positions were in the organization.
Oh, goodness. Well, outside of restaurant management, I did multi-unit supervision, and then I ran the whole Las Vegas market for a while.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that's on the operations side. I started an HR department for the region, did some training in Oak Brook as the dean of Hamburger University on a couple of occasions. I'd say I was an ombudsman. I didn't mention field consultant. That's how I got to know Dave.
That's right.
That was a fun job. Oh, they're all fun.
Hey, Randy, when did you start working for the corporation?
I started not with the corporation. I started with McDonald's in 1965.
Okay.
Where did you live when you were in St. Louis?
I grew up much of my youth was in Berkeley.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But didn't you live?
I'm from
Didn't you live
Ferguson.
in Ferguson too?
Oh yeah. Shortly after marrying, our first place was in and around that area. First 2 or 3, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived in Ferguson as well.
First home I bought was in Ferguson.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a coincidence.
Kindred
Here you
spirits,
go.
so to speak.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, now, all right, let's start from the beginning. The first scene in the movie, he's in a not a drive-through, but a drive-in, and he's trying to sell these malt mixers.
Multi-mixer.
And it's in St. Louis. Is that pretty accurate?
No. He went to see the McDonald Brothers restaurant.
Yeah.
As the story goes, he received this order for 8 multi-mixers.
Right.
And he said that this can't be. He never had an order that large. And when he found out it was a valid order, he said, I have to go see this for myself. So he jumped in the car and took off. I think the movie portrays that episode. And he ended up staying for a couple of days just to watch the kind of business they were doing. And he was enthralled. And understand, one of his other sales work was with Dixie Cup. So he was used to going
the cup guy.
All kinds of diners and stuff. So he had an understanding of food business, the ups and downs and so forth, and he was enthralled by this concept he was watching. And finally he went in and introduced himself, and that's portrayed in the film too.
Well, in the film, Randy, his secretary or assistant said, you got an order for 5 of these multi-mixers, and he calls up the McDonald brothers, and he said, this must be a mistake. He goes, I don't need 5, I want 8. Was that true? Is that the way it happened?
That's right.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't realize that initially it was 5. We always knew it as 8, but ultimately that was the order that they made.
Wow.
And they were just doing so much business. I understand the multi-mixer had 5 spindles. You could make 5 milkshakes at the same time.
Right. So he was like, these guys are going to make 40 at a time, basically?
Yeah.
Explain what the main draw was for Ray with the McDonald's brothers. Was it the food? Was it service? Was it cleanliness? Which was the main thing that he was that amazed him?
All those things coming together is what made the biggest impact on him. But service, he was just amazed at how quickly folks would get through this long line with the food, and it was, this is the era of the beginning of comfort food, and the hamburger was king in the U.S. at that point, and so he recognized how families, not just individuals, would be attracted to it. He thought the quality was excellent. In fact, he was amazed at the way the restaurant's exterior and interior just bristled with cleanliness. So the quality, the service, the cleanliness, the whole deal for a small amount of money, it was captivating to us.
I thought the scene where they gave him the bag, hamburger and fries and a soda, and he said, "Okay, now what?"
He said, "So what's this?"
Yeah,
that's your hamburger.
That to me is the whole basis for McDonald's right there. For me, and I've been in it for 45 years now. How long were you in it?
Well, I retired in 2007.
Is that right?
And you were in it for what, about 40, how many years?
I was 42, 43.
40, between us, we've got nearly 90 years in the business. Do you know that?
Yes.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Another I thought amazing part of the movie was when that fella came in and said, Ray wasn't making any money. And he said, "You got to buy the land." Is that true?
Yeah, that was Harry Sonnenborn, who I think he was with. It wasn't A&W. It was with some other business.
It was an ice cream deal.
Yeah,
Crystal? I don't remember exactly what it was. Right.
Anyway, it's slipping my memory at the moment.
And that's who my dad met with, and he thought it was a scam. If he had met with Ray Kroc, he would have been at McDonald's. There's no doubt in my mind, because there's a lot of similarities between us and Ray.
True.
Yeah.
They both had a penchant for marketing, and they recognized what customers were attracted to, and that was very true. Yeah.
Hey, Randy, you said there's 18, 20 points that, were kind of embellished by Hollywood. One of the things that really stuck out with me was when they, worked out the deal for, what was it, $2.7 million, and they each got so much, they wanted $1 million after taxes, but that 1% deal where he said that's not going to be put in writing, that's a handshake. Did that really happen?
No, all bogus.
All bogus.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Well, what happened?
Oh, yeah. Well, when he proposed the deal, actually it was they proposed the deal. Here's what we want: $1 million net each. That means gross it up 2.7.
Right.
And he didn't know where he was going to come up with the money. He didn't know how that was possible. Think about this a second. Here's a guy that this took place in '61. In 1960, he made $20,000. That was his salary. The McDonald brothers' profit in that one restaurant was $100,000.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
So here's Kroc. He's growing this business. He has this vision. He really loves what they've put together. He sees lots of upside potential. But in order to get to the scale that makes it workable for him, he's going to have to do some things that they didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So he says, guys, we got to separate this. He was portrayed as he was angry with them at times, but he had great respect for them. Up to the day he died.
They did not portray him like that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Well, that's one of the fabrications.
Right.
It makes for a better story.
Tell him what Ray told you about that check and what he was feeling when he. Yeah.
I will. I'll mention that in the concept. So, in the movie, they say, was it a 0.5% or percent? He countered with, "Hey, I'll pay you your money, but could we do it over time?" And they said, "Well, why would we sell the business then? Because that's what you're doing for us now." That 0.5% was what they were getting from every one of these new restaurants that was coming in.
And it was gross sales, wasn't
it? Yes.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, he finally makes. They finally make this deal, but there was nothing about an additional percentage over time. He would have been willing to do that during the terms, but they didn't want to do that. They just wanted the cash.
Right. What about the scene where he got some of his guys from the country club he was involved in, and he went to one of their locations and they were selling, barbecue, and they weren't putting the right amount of pickles, and he comes running out on the tee box and he shoves this hamburger in the guy's chest and says, "What the heck is this thing?"
I don't know about that particular scene.
Yeah.
But he was ruthless when it came to upholding the standards, as were the McDonald brothers.
Well, and I thought that was a really good part of it because, they were so, staunch on the standards of the product, and Ray was too, but he wanted, he wanted to put the Coca-Cola thing on the leaderboard or the menu board, and they were like, it's too commercial for us, Yeah.
Yes, well, when you're growing up a business, small business, you're always looking for ways to keep the customer interested and compelled to visit you and so forth. And so for those guys and gals who had those early restaurants, they were looking to grow too, but he didn't want it to compromise their reputation or their brand, so he was a strict adherent to it. However, over time, many franchisees made contributions, to the way that the product line or other concepts in the business that helped it to continue to grow profitably.
Yeah, that was like filet of fish, the Big Mac, bottled water from some guy in Rolla, things like that.
Yes, that's right. Even the Play Place and cherry pie or apple pies.
The apple turnover,
yeah. That's right. And an interesting list.
Now, Randy, which one of the embellishments to you was the most glaring? Is there one that sticks out to you? I mean, you said there's several.
No, the buyout term. That was
the one that I mentioned.
To me, that was offensive because
well, it made Ray Kroc look like a total jerk.
Well, especially when at the end of the movie they say that 1% would add up to be $100 million in today's time.
Yeah, well, you know what? Here's my reasoning is that, if it was true, they would have sued him so easily. He said it in front of a bunch of people, according to the movie. No way.
No, that's right. It was not. And, he over time, he actually ended up paying a whole lot more, but of course they didn't get it. It was the investors. And he paid off that note much shorter. I don't remember the exact.
Well, he went out and explained who he got financing from.
Well, yeah.
When the banks wouldn't finance him.
He had just financed $1.5 million. I mean, that was 15 times whatever or more what he was already making so that was going to be a tough nut, to carry. But he needed the capital to grow the business. And when this opportunity came up, he said, "I don't know where I'm going to get the money." But Sonnenborg went back to one of the guys that helped him before, and they said, "Well, we're already kind of in this." By the way, anyway, so he calls this fellow who was leading the foundation for Princeton University, and to cut this down to bite-sized pieces, he got 11 other guys to go in with him, representing their foundations or whatever, and the insiders at McDonald's called them the 12 apostles because they were able to help them spread the word. And so that the deal was for 2.7. Kroc said, when I had that pen in my hand to sign that check, I didn't think I could do it. My hand was shaking so much that I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to put my John Hancock on the seal of the deal. But he did, and it certainly worked out very well.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, we are up against the clock. I'm afraid we've got to go, but thanks so much. One question leads to another, and we just haven't got the time to talk further with you. But thanks so much for being with us today.
Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate
it. Thank you, Randy.
it.
Thank you very much.
Hi to Mary.
Thank you very much. Randy Vest with us, an insider on the McDonald's Corporation. I wanted to ask him before he left if indeed Dave Weinbaum was a nice guy or it was,
well, I'll tell you,
something just in the corporation.
I knew him, but I didn't really know him well. But he did an inspection on my store and actually found a little smudge on one of the baseboards. And for the first time, he actually downgraded me from an A to a B in cleanliness. My father was there. My father went after him physically. I had to hold my father back. No, you can't do this.
Is that right?
So is that how you first met Randy?
I knew him, but I didn't know. And we became really close friends. I mean, when he was in Vegas or Los Angeles, I'd go out and stay with the guy, and we still see each other socially. So really, he was really my only good friend in the corporation.
Well, he sounds like a tremendous man.
Great guy.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Hey,
Dave.
my pleasure. Thank you, guys.